Judaism is characterized by the monotheistic belief in one transcendent God who has revealed himself to Abraham, Moses, and the Hebrew prophets, and by a religious life in accordance with the scriptures and rabbinic traditions. So, what is the fundamental difference between Reform and Orthodox Judaism? The central belief that the Torah, including oral law, was given directly from God to Moses and cannot be changed or interpreted. God's law must be obeyed. This belief applies at all times and during every aspect of one's life. Orthodox Jews are required to live in accordance with both the commandments and Jewish law. Their connection to God is through the Torah, and if the word of God is followed, they and Israel will prosper. Jewish law serves as a guide to life. The 13 principles of faith are mandatory for all Jews to affirm. These principles are: 1. God exists. God is perfect in every way, eternal, and the cause of all that exists. 2. God has absolute and unparalleled unity. 3. God is incorporeal without a body. 4. God existed prior to all else. 5. God should be the only object for worship and praise. 6. Prophets and prophecy exist. 7. Moses was the greatest prophet who ever lived. 8. The Torah is from heaven. 9. The Torah will never be abrogated. Nothing will be added to it or subtracted from it. 10. God knows the actions of humans and is not neglectful of them. 11. God rewards those who obey the commands of the Torah and punishes those who violate it. 12. The days of the Messiahs will come. 13. The dead will be resurrected. From God through the Torah, Orthodox Jews have essential traditions and prayers that help build their strong community and connection to God. Shema is the morning and evening prayer that some consider the most important prayer of all Judaism. It affirms God's singularity and kingship. Some Jews view this prayer as a biblical commandment. Special traditions that strengthen their relationship with God are the bris milah, the bar mitzvah, the wedding ceremony, and their funerals. The bris milah is translated from Hebrew to mean covenant of circumcision. In Leviticus, God commanded the Jews that every newborn boy should be circumcised when he is 8 days old. An Orthodox bris takes place in a synagogue and is led by a specially trained rabbi who does the biblical circumcision. Special bris prayers are recited and the boy is given his name for the first time. The ceremony symbolizes the young boy's covenant to God and his Jewish faith. Bar mitzvah is Hebrew for son of commandment. It is the coming of age for Jewish boys. According to the Torah, when Jewish boys reach the age of 13, they'll become an adult and assume full religious responsibilities and become a bar mitzvah, or follower of the biblical commandments. This ceremony represents the boy's continued commitment and service to God and his community. Orthodox Jews generally date only for the sake of marriage, so these dates are taken very seriously. According to Orthodox Judaism, a couple's wedding day is one of the holiest days of their lives, and they are considered to be closer to God. On the day of the wedding, the bride is said to be in Yom Kippur. The bride is freed of all transgressions and wrongdoings. Before the groom can see his bride, he must agree to a contract that solidifies the promises he makes to his future wife. This contract is laid to witness by more experienced generations. Before the wedding ceremony, the couple has a traditional veiling ceremony. The groom veils the bride as a sign of respect to her modesty and privacy during this holy time. He offers up his blessings and his heart to the bride. The wedding ceremony begins under the huppah, a marriage canopy that symbolizes the home they will grow together. During the ceremony, the bride circles the groom 7 times. This breaks down the walls and barriers between them. The 7 circles represent the 7 days that the world was built. They also believe that there are 7 walls of evil that surround a person before marriage, which fall when the bride circles the groom. Before the marriage is finalized, the wife and the groom will privately enter alone in a room for the first 15 minutes. This union finalizes in Jewish law the act of marriage. All these traditions for wedding are strictly followed because it symbolizes the seriousness of the commitment. An Orthodox Jewish funeral ceremony is an accompaniment. Jewish law mandates the proper preparation and burial of the deceased body within 24 hours following death. Before the body is buried, it'll be treated with utmost respect, washed completely with warm water and purification. This is done by devoted members of the Jewish community that ensure all Jewish funeral readings and traditions are done properly. The funeral services take place in a synagogue. Traditionally, the mourning period for Orthodox Jews lasts 7 days and is called the Shiva. Orthodox Jews also believe in heaven and purgatory. In the Jewish tradition, the human soul is immortal. Thus, they believe in the resurrection of a person's body and the existence of a physical life after death. The resurrection will occur after the coming of the Messiah. But until then, it is believed that righteous souls will receive the pleasures of heaven, while wicked souls will suffer in purgatory. Time spent in the purgatory is seen as a time when one can see the actions of their life objectively, see the harm they had done, opportunities missed, and experience remorse for their actions. The period of time in purgatory does not exceed 12 months, and once atoned, the soul ascends to take its place in heaven. It is believed that only the utterly wicked do not ascend at the end of this period. Jews celebrate Passover as a commemoration of their liberation by God from slavery in ancient Egypt, and their freedom as a nation under the leadership of Moses. It commemorates the story of the Exodus as described in the Hebrew Bible. Passover lasts for 8 days for Orthodox Jews. In the narrative of Exodus, the Bible tells that God changed the children of Israel escape from their slavery in Egypt by inflicting 10 plagues upon the ancient Egyptians before the Pharaoh would release his Israelite slaves. The 10th and worst of the plagues was death of the Egyptian firstborn. The Israelites were instructed to mark the doorposts of their homes with the blood of a slaughtered spring lamb. And upon seeing this, the Spirit of the Lord knew to pass over the firstborns in these homes, hence the English name for the holiday. When the Pharaoh freed the Israelites, it is said that they left in such a hurry that they could not wait for bread dough to rise, or leaven. In commemoration for the duration of Passover, no leavened bread is eaten, for which reason Passover was called the Feast of Unleavened Bread. All Jewish religious holidays are in commemoration of miracles and are joyous, happy occasions that bring the Orthodox people closer to their relationship to God. The high holidays and the Jewish New Year begins on September 9th this year, with the 2-day Rosh Hashanah, or the head of the new Jewish year. This is the birthday of the universe, or the anniversary of the day God created Adam and Eve. Rosh Hashanah is the day of judgment. Actions on Rosh Hashanah impact one's fortune for the rest of the year. The day is celebrated with the lighting of candles and the recitation of blessings, festive meals complete with sweet desserts and prayer services. Much of the day is spent in synagogue praying that God grant a sweet new year and reading from the Torah. A week after Rosh Hashanah, the high holiday continues with the holiest day of the year, Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is the anniversary of the day Moses returned to pray to God to forgive the people of Israel for their sins. Yom Kippur is dedicated to introspection, prayer, and asking God for forgiveness. Hanukkah means dedication and commemorates the reclaiming and rededication of the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. After the Jews defeated and drove out the Greeks who ruled the Holy Land at the time, they went to light the temple's menorah to find that only a day's supply of pure olive oil was left, untainted by the Greeks. But by some miracle, the oil lasted 8 days until the Jews were able to ritually prepare more oil. In honor of this event, the Hanukkah festival is centered around the lighting of a menorah, which holds 9 flames. Traditional meals during the holiday include foods fried in oil in honor of the Hanukkah oil miracle. Modern Orthodox kids go to a Hebrew school, where all secular studies are taught just like any other public school. But the first few hours of the day are for Jewish law and Torah studies. The modern Orthodox Jews mingle with the non-Jewish world and attend regular colleges. Their lifestyle is getting easier to uphold.